Part 85. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 841. Chapter 841 The Sudden Change. A sudden change occurred, and before Yuan had time to step into the space, she was swallowed by something, even to the place where she was standing. It was like sending Yuan somewhere at an extremely fast speed. It was so fast that Yuan couldn't even use her consciousness. It was so fast that she felt like the world was spinning. Curiosity killed the cat, Yuan wailed in her heart and lost consciousness. When she woke up again, she felt that her body was deep in the mire and wrapped in something. Well. Yuan moved, and bursts of pain came from her, causing her to take a few breaths of cold air. Suddenly, another pungent stench came, which made her almost faint. "Is this a cesspool?" Yuan Hao said, and immediately looked at the body with her spiritual consciousness, only to find that her body had been corroded by something, leaving only a skeleton, with almost no internal organs. Of course, even the divine clothes had been corroded. Yuan thought to herself that she was unlucky. She ran to look at something, but it was probably swallowed by something. She hurriedly entered the space and immediately took a healing pill to start healing. An hour later, Yuan's injuries did not heal at all. What the is this? Yuan was stunned. This was the first time that the healing pill had failed. Yuan immediately looked through the boundary gate to see what on earth this thing was, so dangerous. When she saw the thing clearly, she was swallowed by a huge thing as expected. Yuan has never seen such a thing before. It must have been mutated. The whole body is soft and like a ball of mud. The place she fell into was its stomach, and the gastric juices should be highly toxic, so her healing elixir could not heal her wounds. No matter what it was, Yuan took the thing into the space and trapped it with a star formation. Then she took an antidote pill and drank it first. After taking the detoxification pill, Yuan took another healing pill, and the flesh on her body began to grow back. That thing was so poisonous that Yuan took 3 detoxifying pills to detoxify it. After that, she took another healing pill and her body recovered. After recovering, Yuan immediately looked at the mass. The mass was like Tai Sui, soft and turned into a big lump, lying motionless in the formation. Yuan's spiritual consciousness swept over it, and she knew that it had been using her spiritual consciousness to check how it came here all of a sudden, and also hit the formation from time to time. That speed can be called an absolute word, too fast. Yuan didn't expect this thing to be so fast. It seems that anything that has mutated is very fast. Yuan didn't come up with any tricks. After strangulating the thing with the formation, he threw it into the red earth. It took half a stick of incense to swallow up the thing. Just after devouring it, the red earth returned to its strongest divine power, and the green lotus of creation absorbed another half. Can you stop absorbing it first? What will you do with the magical medicines I raised after you absorb them? Didn't you see that they are all wilted? Yuan immediately shouted at the creation Qinglian, at least to let those magical medicines go. Just recover and absorb again. As soon as the green lotus of creation absorbed the divine power, all the magical medicines withered. Master, aren't you in a hurry? I haven't even swallowed your magical medicine. Creation Qinglian looked like I only absorbed divine power and didn't swallow your magical medicine. Yuan really wanted to beat it and swallow her magic medicine. I'm so impatient. If you like this, no matter how much divine power you have, it won't be enough for you to absorb. My magical medicine will wither even if you don't even look at it. Master, you can catch only this kind of thing a day, I can it once every other day. No, Creation Qinglian asked weakly when he saw that Yuan was really a little angry. Yuan took a deep breath and walked out of the Red Land. In the following time, as long as Yuan found abandoned planets, she would not let anyone go. Most of the planets found later would be able to find some surviving mutated creatures. Yuan would take them into space and strangle them with formations. Throw it into the red earth. As expected, the green lotus of creation waited until the magic medicine was recovered before absorbing it. However, after it absorbed it a few times, Yuan saw that its lotus seeds had grown a little. According to the maturity period of 100 million years stated by creation Qinglian, the time in her time is already 30 times faster than outside, but it actually doesn't take many years. In other words, it will take millions of years for it to mature. Of course Yuan did not tell creation Qinglian, nor did she tell it that this was her space. She didn't make a contract to create Qinglian, and after making the contract, she didn't know whether it would have any impact on her after creating this star, so it was better not to make a contract. Master, I feel like I'm growing up very fast that day. Qinglian seemed to feel something. It asked Yuan. It matured once, but it never matured so fast. It felt like time passed by in a flash. I give you so much divine power to absorb every day, it's strange that you're unhappy. Thinking about it, it is indeed the same for Qinglian. In the past, the divine power was very even, and there was no such strong divine power to absorb. It is the divine power absorbed after being purified by the pure world green lotus. The intensity of its strength is incomparable to this. Yuan feels that this creation Qinglian has a very high IQ, and it is better to have less contact with it in the future, so as not to see any suspicions or resort to any tricks. Can you take human form? Of course I can. I can perfect the rules. Do you think I can turn into a human form? To put it bluntly, the rules are all formulated by it. Is it after you mature? No, actually I can turn into a human form now, but it takes divine power to turn into a human form, so I can keep my true form. Then can you freely travel between spaces? The rules are sound, and Yuan believes that it can definitely travel between spaces. Of course I can, as long as I understand the laws of space, but I can't do it yet. Yuan swallowed, then she could no longer keep the secret of her space. Do you know where you are now? It's not possible now, but it should be possible in a while. Creation Qinglian said honestly, is your place a closed space? Are you afraid that I will do something bad to you if I know where you are? Yuan gave it a thumbs up. You are smart. I still look down on your space. I'm just staying here temporarily. I will return to the energy planet in the future. That is our home. Creation Qinglian said with disdain. This owner is really worried. The energy planet is the source of everything. It would be foolish to give up the energy planet and live in this small space. It still has its roots there. After it exhausted all its power, it was sealed in a place by a bird, preventing it from absorbing divine power. Otherwise, it would have returned to the energy planet long ago. Maybe it would have recovered when the seal of Qinglian was broken. Recreating this interstellar world. This star will not face destruction. Interstellar destruction, I don't know if they have the possibility of rebirth. End of this chapter. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 842. Chapter 842. I already disliked it. Yuan did not comment on her disdain for creation Qinglian. This guy can create all things, and his IQ is absolutely brilliant. She is a scumbag in front of creation Qinglian. She listened to whatever he said. Yuan was chatting with the good fortune Qinglian again. She suddenly thought of a question. Everything was created by the good fortune Qinglian. By merging two spaces, to be precise, the high-level space swallowed up the low-level space. This divine magic created the good fortune Qinglian. Should know. Yuan thought of this and asked, Xiaolian, you should know the magic of merging two spaces, right? I know, but I haven't recovered my divine power yet and can't do it. As for your strength, it's still early. Even if I teach you, you can't do it? Let's wait until you reach the level of the God Emperor. You can't leave it to me now, just in case there is a chance to meet her in the future. She was living for free, and he didn't even want to teach her a fusion magic. This guy was just an iron rooster, and Yuan was a little angry. Zhao Qinglian ignored Yuan's eyes and continued, let's wait until I can turn into a human form. At that time, the soul will be stronger. Now it is just a drop, and it is not enough to transmit the magic. Okay, Yuan could accept this. If he was really like an iron rooster, he would definitely throw it out. She is not a holy mother. If the star is destroyed, it will be destroyed. It is none of her business. By then, they will be in a good mood and may be able to accept more people. Furthermore, if there is a big star, and it is not just their family who are monks, and everyone has their own means of survival, how can the monks become extinct? The saving of Hua Qinglian was dragged very much in her space, and it was not pleasing to see it early. Yuan left the Red Land and came to the battlefield outside the territory. It has been decades since she left. She has not seen Mujukan for decades and misses him very much. Have everyone evacuated? When Yuan came to the battlefield outside the territory, there were only a few gods waiting here, and the others had already evacuated. Yuan flashed back to space and used the boundary gate to find Mujukan. When he found Mujukan, he was fighting a group of mutated creatures. I'm surprised, where is this place? Why are mutant creatures here? Yuan immediately asked Jimin to take a look and found that this was actually the Tongxian realm. How come the mutated creatures came to Tongxian realm, and the battlefields outside the territory didn't stop them? Yuan sighed at the power of the mutated creatures. While taking a look around, the once prosperous Tongxian realm was now devastated, and wars were happening everywhere. Fighting by all the people. The monks fought extremely fiercely with the mutated creatures. This is more than the mutated creatures on the battlefield outside the territory. Yuan, while feeling strange, quickly put the body of the mutated creature into the space and threw it into the red earth. Thinking that Liang Bao and Yu Heiran were both in the Tongxian realm, Yuan immediately looked for them. She was very familiar with the abnormal strength of these mutated creatures. Although Liang Bao and the others were protected by divine clothes, there was no chance that they would encounter the kind she had encountered. A mutated creature, God's clothes is nothing but dregs in front of it. Yuan was the first to find the two treasures. They were in a terrible state and were surrounded by a group of mutated creatures. They could only resist. Yuan sighed, these two fools would not hide if they had space, they would have to be beaten there. However, if these mutated creatures dared to hit her son, they were really looking for death. With a flash of consciousness, she threw Xiao Zi away. This thing hasn't been touched for a long time. Let's do it today. When throwing Xiao Zi into the group of mutated creatures, she had already collected the mutated creatures around Liang Bao into the space and trapped them with a star formation. When Liang Bao saw the mutated creature attacking them disappear suddenly, it must be their mother. Liang Bao looked happy, and in an instant they came to Yuan's space. Mom, you are finally back. Bao was so happy when he saw his mother. Yuan patted them distressedly and poured out 2 healing pills for them. You heal your wounds first, and I will find your grandparents and uncles. Liang Bao nodded, swallowed the healing pill and began to heal. Yuan immediately searched for Yu Heiran and Fengxi, and it took a stick of incense to find them all and put them into the space. Fortunately, there were no casualties among them, only minor injuries, and they were fine after taking the healing pill. After all his people were rescued, Yuan didn't have time to ask them what the situation was, so he immediately collected the mutated creatures at the boundary gate. Many of the mutated creatures have regained some consciousness. When they saw many of their companions disappearing out of thin air, they chirped for a while, and instead of retreating, they attacked fiercely. They finally found the treasure land of Tongxian realm, and they will never give up. They worked together to kill the monks, and then devour their souls. The more they devour, the faster they recover. And they become stronger after devouring them. I wish I could return to human form as soon as possible. Whoever likes to become a monster with a disgusting body will be disgusted by him. So countless cities disappeared before Yuan's eyes, like locusts passing by. Not a single living thing was seen wherever they went. Yuan was stunned. With the intensity of the attack, if she didn't help, Tongxian continent wouldn't be able to survive for a year, and the mutated creatures would definitely destroy the planet. But at this rate, if they are not killed, Tongxuan's fate cannot be changed even if she helps. The attack was increasing in intensity outside, but she was unable to increase the intensity of the attack. The star array could only strangle so many people at once. After strangling them all, they were thrown into the red earth before they could be taken in again from the outside. One wave. So she couldn't keep up with their speed at all. The monks didn't kill them hard enough, and most of them who didn't escape became prey to the mutated creatures. So Yuan could only watch. At this time, the Luo tribe can no longer hold on in their battle to protect the tribe. The mutated creatures surrounding the attack formation are so densely packed that it makes people's backs tingle. Qin Feng and the elders of the clan looked extremely solemn. "Chief, what should we do?" a clan elder couldn't help but ask. "Are you afraid?" Qin Feng asked the clan elders. "Don't be afraid," the clan elders replied forcefully. "Very good, everyone, get ready. Husband, please send a message to the girl quickly and ask her to help, otherwise when those monsters break through the formation, all of us will be dead," Mingzu said anxiously. "How can we save the Luo people at this time? It's important to save our lives." She had sent countless messages to Yuan, but had not received any response, so he asked Qin Feng to send one too. Thinking that Yuan must be in space, otherwise it would be impossible not to reply to her voice transmission, but what if the voice transmission jade that Yuan had contact with her had problems or was broken, so she asked Qin Feng to send it too. Hearing this, Qin Feng looked at her anxious look and couldn't bear to touch her. He took out the jade of sound transmission and sent the message. However, I never received a reply. Mingzu was a little panicked, thinking that Yuan was definitely in space, so she didn't reply to the message. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 843. Chapter 843 Attack. The two of them can hide in the living space. As for the Luo people, although these people don't do her business, she really can't watch them fall into the mouth of the mutant creature. There are still so many children in the family. Don't be afraid. If you can't wait, I will put all the people in the clan into the space. They should be able to fit it in. Qin Feng patted the frightened Mingzu and said, he also has a life space in his body, but not in it. Big, there should be no problem pretending to be a member of the whole family. In the Tongxian world, every big family, every big sect, and every big boss has life space in their hands. It's just different sizes. Qin Feng sighed, but it was a pity for those monks who had no means to save their lives. There were too few people with life space and too few people who could survive, so they were devoured by these monsters in vain. Yuan was very busy in the space. She didn't know why, but suddenly she thought that Mingzu and Qin Feng were still looking for them outside. Thinking that they might be in danger, she immediately used the boundary gate to look for them and saw that they were actually in the Luo clan. It seemed that their formation to protect the clan could no longer be defended. Yuan quickly killed the mutant creatures in the star formation and collected all the mutant creatures outside the Luo clan, in order to reduce the pressure on the clan protection formation. Then she entered the Luo clan and appeared in front of Qin Feng and the others. Ancestor. Girl Qin Feng and Mingzu were surprised. When they saw the mutated creatures outside disappearing out of thin air, they knew it was Yuan. Finally, she is here. Yuan didn't talk nonsense, but asked directly, Ancestor, the situation is urgent, do you want to enter my space or what? Qin Feng said, Girl, I just need to wait and see if you are here. Please help to collect the weird things outside. The other ancestors will have their own solutions. He still wants to preserve the clan protecting formation. The resources required to build a large formation are immeasurable, and some of them have already disappeared. Once this family protecting formation is destroyed, there will be no way to rebuild it. They all knew that the realm gate was in Yuan's body. They also knew about the realm gate's power, so Yuan had the ability to contain the mutated thing. Yuan did not refuse, she nodded, okay, then take care of yourself. After Yuan finished speaking, he immediately flashed into the space, collected all the mutated creatures outside the Luo clan's protective formation, and immediately started the formation to strangle them. Then throw it into the red earth. The green lotus created by it is so beautiful. With so much divine power, I feel like it will be restored tomorrow. Yuan had just finished gathering them, but another wave of mutated creatures came from behind, and they continued to attack the clan protection formation. We will not stop until we break through. Looking at the crumbling formation to protect the clan, Yuan knew that it could not be saved. At the same time, Qin Feng also received all the Luo people into his life space. The moment the formation broke, there were no living creatures inside. The mutated creatures are extremely disappointed. Are they simply playing tricks on them? They will disappear sooner or later. They will disappear the moment they break through. They were so angry that they destroyed everything in the Luo tribe, leaving only ruins before they walked away. Yuan watched this scene at the boundary gate and was also very angry. She has more ambition than strength. The star formation is only so big and can only strangle so many mutated creatures at one time. After killing so many waves, she almost used up all her starstone time. In the end, Yuan had no choice but to take those mutated creatures into the star town and trap them first. Find Mujukan later and move them to the demon suppression tower. On the other side, Mujukan was attacking while absorbing the mutant creatures that were lower in strength than him. He could not absorb the mutant creatures with higher strength at the same time. He had no choice but to enter the demon suppression tower, make a contract with a group of mythical beasts, and then lead the beasts out to kill the mutated creatures. When the mutated creatures saw so many divine beasts, it was as if they were seeing some delicacies. They all seemed to have been pumped, and they surrounded and attacked the dozens of divine beasts in 3 layers and 3 layers outside. It turns out that they prefer to devour the flesh and blood of mythical beasts. The flesh and blood of mythical beasts is purer. Their eyes turned red when they saw these dozens of mythical beasts. Mujukan was speechless. He felt that he was here to bring food to the mutated creatures. He had no choice but to set up a large formation to trap these mutated creatures first and then take care of them one by one. Fortunately, those mutated creatures saw dozens of divine beasts and ignored him, so he had the opportunity to set up a large formation. When the formation was successfully deployed, there were only 30 divine beasts left out of the 46, and 16 had already entered the belly of the mutated creature. Mujukan speeded up the collection of mutated creatures and threw them all on the 9th floor. The remaining divine beasts on the 9th floor were placed in the small space of the Suzaku ancestor. The mythical beasts on the 1st to 8th floors are too weak, and if mutated creatures are locked in, they will die of joy. On the other side, Qin Feng settled the people in his clan and came out of the space. When he saw that the land of the Luo clan was in ruins, he was furious. He caught up with the mutant creatures in a flash and swung his divine sword to kill the mutant creatures. Quartet. He is one of the most powerful people in the Tongxian world, and his strength cannot be underestimated. Wherever the sword energy passes, like a meat grinder, there are all the mutilated limbs and broken arms of mutated creatures. When have the mutated creatures seen such a powerful person? They are all excited and afraid of him. They all wanted to devour Qin Feng, but were afraid of dying by his sword. Qin Feng killed for a while to relieve his anger, tore apart the space and headed towards the eastern god territory, where his children and grandchildren were still there. In the Hongmengtian zone, the battle was extremely fierce at this time. The ancestor had the highest strength. He stood in front of the disciples and attacked with the main force. But there are too many mutated creatures, and they become more powerful after devouring the monks' souls. What's more interesting is that they have a well-planned battle plan, which can be said to defeat the Hongmengtian zone. The ancestor had no choice but to retreat with the remaining disciples and enter the divine land, whereupon the remaining disciples escaped. Scenes like this are happening everywhere in the Tongxian world. Those who have a place to hide can still hide, but the monks who have no place to hide all become the prey of mutated creatures. Yuan ran out of star stones. As a last resort, she returned to Ziwei continent and moved all the star stones there. It may not still exist in the future if you keep it. By the way, she took a look at the Wuxia realm, and seeing that nothing happened yet, she rushed back to the Tongxian realm, found Mujukan, and transferred the mutated creatures in the star array into the demon suppression tower. She continued to collect them. So much faster, the mutated creatures are decreasing. The leader of the mutated creatures discovered the anomaly and disappeared into the starry sky with the remaining mutated creatures. As soon as the mutated creatures left, the monks in Tongxian realm had to take a breather and then immediately rested. With this modification, the number of people has been reduced by 1/3. Tongxian realm has a population of tens of billions, and now there are more than 3 billion less, which scares the main half to death. 3 billion people. He immediately summoned 4 powerful men to discuss how to defend against the next wave of mutant creature attacks. End of this chapter. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 844. Chapter 844 Transformation into Human Form. Yuan and Mujukan are very busy at the moment. They worked in the space for 10 years before they killed all the mutated creatures and turned them into the divine power needed by the space. Yeah, Yuan stretched and finally finished. I have not rested in space for a whole 10 years and have been busy all the time. Those mutated creatures must be dealt with before the mutated creatures attack again, so as to prepare for another attack by the mutated creatures. With their urinary properties, it is impossible for them to come to the mysterious realm only once. How can they give up if Tongxian realm is not turned into a waste star? There are many monks in Tongxian realm for them to devour. But before they come to the Tongxian realm, she still has to look for them, count as many as they find, and destroy as many as they find. This time Yuan went out from the demon suppression tower. He moved the small world to the demon suppression tower. As soon as she came back, she would return to the demon suppression tower. It's just convenient for her to release those mutated creatures. Mujukan stayed in Tongxian realm. Yuan searched quickly. No matter how many they found, they would be thrown back into the demon suppression tower first. 50 years have passed since then, and mutated creatures have not attacked again. No matter whether the mutated creatures come or not, Tongsuanja is also prepared. The main Tongxian arranged the 4 directions of southeast, northwest, and were guarded by Qin Feng and the other 4. The Tongxian realm is too big. Even if they set up a barrier, they can't cover such a large area. They can only arrange for powerful gods and men to take turns to wait. The gods and men with low strength are all gathered together. When the mutated creatures come, those who have life space will take them into the life space. Too many people were lost last time and we cannot afford to lose more people. Originally, Tongxian realm is a vast area with few people. If the number of people decreases, a lot of space will become vacant and uncontrollable. Yuan saw that 50 years had passed and the mutated creatures had not taken action. This was abnormal. While she was searching, She often went back to the Wuxia realm to have a look, for fear that the mutated creatures would change their positions. When he saw that there was nothing wrong with Wuxia realm, Yuan went to look for it elsewhere. But what Yuan doesn't know is that although the mutated creatures did not go to the Wuxia realm, they went to other worlds, some of which were the cultivation world, and some of which were ordinary. Regardless of whether it was the cultivation world or the ordinary world, wherever they passed, they were like locusts passing through, sweep them all clean. There are very few people who can escape such an attack. There are some powerful gods who can tear apart space and run away when they can. Some planets that have contact with Tongxian world come to Tongxian world for help. The people who have mutant creatures are hated, so the main sent a lot of masters to help in the past, but the effect was very small, and the people sent a lot of people. When Yuan got the news, she rushed there quickly. When she arrived at the scene, all she saw was an abandoned planet. It's too late. Yuan was furious when she saw such a scene. She had been to all these planets. The planets that used to be overcrowded were now bare and useless. It makes people extremely sad and angry. Yuan is helpless. She knows that she can save those who can do this now. This is the purifying green lotus. Now let alone the fact that she doesn't know where the pure world green lotus is, even if she knew it, it would be too late to find it. To find it, she would have to raise it like the creation green lotus, and she would have to have a lot of divine power to support it. If the purifying green lotus was good, it would have purified the star long ago. Yuan suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness in her heart. Humanity has not yet faced the destruction of the interstellar world, but it has been invaded by mutant creatures. This is no different from destruction. It's just in advance. At present, she can't find a better way to eliminate the mutated creatures, so she can only use her own stupid method to collect them one by one. In the space, after the creation Qinglian absorbed a lot of divine power, it was finally able to transform into a human form. He came to Yuan's side in a flash and saw her bitter face. Why do you have such a bitter face? Suddenly, a little kid appeared and stood next to Yuan, startling her. Her body reflexively stood still at a distance, looking at the little kid. With this little courage, there is no future. Creation Qinglian looked down upon Yuan. Yuan heard the familiar voice ask, "Are you Xiaolian?" Zaixian Qinglian's face twitched. "It took me so long to recognize the young master, my eyes are lame." Yuan flashed back and raised her hand to give him a blast. Unexpectedly, Qinglian could transform into a human form, but he was just a kid of about 10 years old, and his strength was not very good. "How dare you scold me when you are so brave? After all, I am your bread and butter parent and have raised you for so long. How dare you scold me for being lame and calling me your master? Whose master is that?" Zai Zhao Qinglian touched the head that Yuan had knocked on her head and said, "Who made you not recognize me right away? By the way, you are here like a dead mother. What big thing happened?" Yuan gave him another shock. "You're a dead mother. You little brat talks so freely. Be careful and I'll beat you to death. Aren't you those mutated creatures? They are now attacking the cultivation world and living creatures everywhere. Planets, look at these planets. They used to be overcrowded, but now they are all useless." Creation Qinglian glanced at it, curled his lips and said, "There is no way, this is what we will face when destruction Qinglian comes out. Didn't I say it before? Come with me to the energy planet and take a look at the purification system whether Shi Qinglian is still there, only he can save the star." "Can you go back?" Yuan asked in surprise. "Don't underestimate me, as long as I can stabilize my human form, I can travel through space, which is much easier to use than your world gate." "Then go away quickly, all talk is useless." He said that her realm was not as good as his, that she had no abilities, and yet he dared to despise her. "You woman, you speak so rudely." Creation Qinglian looked at Yuan with contempt again, but he still made moves with his hands. He quickly performed the maneuvers. When a whirlpool appeared in front of him, he pulled Yuan away. Jump into the vortex. F***ck, Yuan swore, saying that she was rude in her words, and this little brat was even more rude in her actions. He jumped in without saying a word, and her magical clothes were not activated. What if she was hanged? The two of them shuttled rapidly through the space passage, and from time to time they saw mutated creatures. With a gentle grasp of creation Qinglian, the mutated creature was caught by him into the space passage and was crushed into pulp by the space passage. Yuan stood firmly in the passage, watching the little kid do it, and she was wondering, this little kid has two brushes. How is it, have you been surprised by me? It's amazing, but not scary at all. You have this kind of magical power. If you go back to find some pure world green lotus, you can kill them with this hand. Creation Qinglian rolled her eyes at Yuan. You think so? How long do you think my strength can last? These are all needed to turn into the divine power I need. It would be a pity to kill you like this. I call you stupid, still out of breath. End of this chapter. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 845. Chapter 845 Black Heart Lotus. Yuan stretched out her foot and kicked him. The little brat was so angry with what he said. He was indeed a person who could create the world. His brain was not ordinary, and his mouth was not ordinary either. Don't move around. I won't be able to catch you when you fly out of the space channel later. You can't die now. You are my food, clothing, and parents. When I fully recover, it won't be too late for you to die. Yuan stretched out her hands, wanting to strangle the little kid to death. Why is the mouth so poisonous? Why haven't I discovered it before? What kind of green lotus is this? It's a black heart lotus. Zizao Qinglian even stretched out his neck for her to pinch. Looking at him looking like he was in need of a beating, Yuan wanted to walk away. While the two were fighting, Zaixian Qinglian's expression suddenly became serious. He stared straight ahead, not knowing what he was looking at. Suddenly, Creation Qinglian started a fight, and the two of them immediately stopped in the space passage. Yuan didn't bother him with a word. He probably had arrived at the energy planet at this time, or maybe Qinglian discovered something dangerous, otherwise this little kid wouldn't be so serious. Yuan also looked in the direction the little kid was looking at, but couldn't see anything. After a long while, Creation Qinglian said in a deep voice, "You stay here, don't move, and don't leave. No matter what happens, you have to wait for me to come back." Seeing that Creation Qinglian was speaking so seriously, Yuan asked, "Did you discover something extraordinary?" The Green Lotus Tiger of Creation said with a face, "It's an amazing thing, that's why I let you stay here and don't move." "Okay, then go quickly and be careful not to kill yourself." Zizao Qinglian glanced at him and disappeared in front of Yuan in a flash. Tisk, 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 this little kid's ability is not small. He can come and go freely in the space passage. Yuan was envious and jealous. This ability is simply amazing. Even a powerful person like Qin Feng doesn't have this ability. Creation Qinglian can only recover 1/3 of its strength, just like this. If they were all restored, what would it be like? As expected, the green lotus created by God is the green lotus created by God, and it is not just a boast. Ask her to wait and she will wait. She might as well sit down and wait. I don't know how long I waited, but Creation Qinglian came back with injuries all over. Yuan immediately helped him up and asked, "Is something okay?" Zizao Qinglian shook her head and immediately sat down cross-legged. After a while, she said, "Take me into the space." Yuan nodded and immediately led him into the red earth. After he had absorbed almost all the divine power in the red earth, he opened his eyes. Yuan was speechless. This time she had almost finished absorbing all the divine power. Fortunately, there were mutated creatures in the star array. Otherwise, all her magic medicines will be useless. Yuan quickly threw those mutated creatures in, and the divine power in the red earth recovered somewhat. "Why did you come back in such a mess?" Yuan asked again, still unable to help but be curious. "Who did such a naughty little kid meet?" "I've met the world-destroying Qing Lian. I can't defeat him alone. It's good that I'm not dead." "You can die. Can't you?" "Where is Jingshi Qing Lian?" Zizao Qing Lian shook his head. "I didn't feel his breath, I don't know where he is." Yuan felt a little disappointed, and she asked again, "Can the world-destroying green lotus you mentioned be received in space?" "You don't want your space anymore." Creation Qing Lian looked at her with a half-smile. "Yuan." Well, she was whimsical. "Now what?" Zizao Qing Lian spread his hands and said, "Liang Ban, the three of us worked together to seal him back then. Now I am still so weak. What do you think we can do? Then we can only wait for death. We are all dead, so we might as well go out and fight him and blow ourselves up." "You black-hearted woman, it's a good thing that I didn't recognize you as my master." Creation Qing Lian was fuming with anger. "Ha ha ha." Yuan couldn't help laughing and scolded her, but she also fought back. She added, "There is nothing you can do on the left, and you are waiting to die on the right. Then sacrifice yourself. I am telling the truth. Where is the evil heart? Have you ever seen such a kind-hearted person like me? I provide you with food, drink, and shelter, you still haven't paid the rent. I'm too lazy to tell you, a black-hearted woman, so hurry up and get your divine power. I have to recover as soon as possible." After saying this, Qing Lian turned back to its original form, inserted it into the red earth and ignored Yuan. Yuan patted him on the body, walked out of the red earth, and threw several waves of mutated creatures into the red earth. After recovering her divine power, Yuan came to the training room. She thought that this place should not be far from the energy planet. Let's see what the energy planet looks like from the gate. Yuan controlled the realm gate, and the lady immediately searched for the energy planet. "Master, do you think that is it?" As soon as Xiaja finished speaking, a paradise-like planet appeared on the opposite side. "The planet is very big, and there are everyone else on it except humans." "No way, this is an energy planet. An energy planet shouldn't be a planet that emits energy like the sun. How can it be like a planet for cultivation? The various energies above are so rich that if you take one sip, you will be able to meditate and practice for several days. Didn't it say that there is a world-destroying green lotus on it? Doesn't it mean that the world-destroying green lotus has no effect on the energy planet?" After thinking about it and being surprised, Yuan immediately took out a jade slip and carved the image of the planet into the jade slip. After carving it, she released her spiritual consciousness and carefully scanned the planet. "This is really a holy place for cultivation, but there are no humans here." She dare not act rashly. She can only wait for Creation Qing Lian to wake up and ask him if this is an energy planet. There were many magical medicines that Yuan didn't know, and she planted some in the space. Of course, Yuan didn't dare to ask for the animals above. Logically speaking, if this was an energy planet, the laws above should be sound, but they still maintain their animal identities. And their aura is very powerful, much more powerful than the aura of a small snake. Yuan likes it, but this thing is also a dangerous item to take in. Before she can figure it out, she can just take a look. After reading it once, Yuan withdrew her consciousness and came to the Red Land. Zizao Qinglian is still absorbing divine power with his eyes closed, and Yuan is also sitting next to him absorbing divine power to practice. Surprisingly, practicing next to Creation Qinglian made her feel very calm and she started practicing quickly. Yuan thought that there was such a benefit, but Qinglian didn't even tell her about it. It is indeed a black-hearted glutinous rice ball. It wasn't until the divine power in the space became thin again that the two of them woke up. How's it going? Isn't it good to practice by my side? Yuan moved his head. You little brat, you didn't even tell me this good thing. How can you be so thoughtful about something bigger? I won't tell you even this small amount of divine power is not enough for me to absorb. Why do I ask you to come? How long will it take for me to recover? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 846. Chapter 846. Lie to her. Forget it, Yuan is an adult and won't care about a little brat. She will often come to meditate and practice next to him from now on, and he can't drive her away. You're not going to replenish your divine power. What are you doing here? Creation Qinglian touched Yuan. I'm not your coolie, by the way. That planet that looks like a paradise is the energy planet. When this little brat said it, I almost forgot about the business. What is a paradise? Are you hallucinating? How can there be any paradise here? Creation Qinglian looked at Yuan as if he were a fool. Around the energy planet, all the planets have become useless stars, and there is no paradise planet anywhere. Tell me again, what is that paradise like? Suddenly, Qinglian suddenly seemed to have thought of something and asked Yuan immediately. Yuan threw the jade slip to Creation Qinglian. See for yourself, where did I have any hallucinations? Zhao Qinglian grabbed the jade slip and couldn't wait to look inside. When he saw the paradise planet that Yuan had mentioned inside, he was stunned. This is really like a paradise. Yuan really didn't lie. There is only one person who can achieve such a star around an energy planet, and that is he has never been able to find the pure world green lotus. He just purified a planet. His strength has not been restored like him, but it is much better than him. Zhao Qinglian's breathing was a little rapid. He glanced at the stupid Yuan. This woman was really a lucky person. He didn't even sense Jingxi Qinglian, but she found her. Is this a slap in the face? It makes a snapping sound. I used to say that other people's realm gates are not as good as his, but they found Jingxi Qinglian in a realm gate that is not as good as his. His face was burning with pain. Take me to see that planet. Pain is pain, and if you are not as good as a human being, you are not as good as a human being. He created Qinglian not to be such a stingy person, so he immediately ordered Yuan, and there was no sense of embarrassment in the order. He plans to ask Yuan to bring the pure world green lotus into this space. Only the pure world green lotus can deal with those mutated creatures and have absolute purification. Then they will quickly return to their human form and stop causing chaos in the interstellar world. This is the star they created. No matter how long it lasts, he hopes that this star can exist for a long time. Although it is a bit extravagant to hope, considering Yuan's luck, it is possible. Zhao Qinglian suspected that Yuan was the son of luck. He could feel that aura on her body. It is said that everything on this planet was created by him, and all affairs could not escape his eyes. However, at that time, only human beings were not created by him, but evolved, so he could not identify them. Now it's not about what Yuan is, it helps them to care about who she is, as long as they recover the 3 green lotuses and seal the world-destroying green lotus again. This star can exist for a long time. When Yuan heard the Qinglian creature ask to take him to that place, she was sure that it was not an energy planet, nor an energy planet, but also a planet not occupied by humans. This could only mean one thing, that is, the pure world Qinglian talent, a purified abandoned planet. It just looks like a paradise. Thinking that it might be the pure world green lotus, Yuan brought the good fortune green lotus to the planet without saying a word. As soon as he landed on the ground, Creation Qinglian's figure flashed and disappeared from Yuan's eyes, leaving behind a sentence, "Stand there and don't move, waiting for the young master to come back." Suddenly another halo of light enveloped Yuan's body. Yuan rolled her eyes at Zixi and Qinglian speechlessly. Couldn't she enter the space? Why let her stand still? She is a 3-year-old child. This little brat. Yuan cursed the creation of Qinglian in her heart, and then sat down in the circle of light. This little kid still has some conscience, so he asked her to stand and wait, and also gave her a protective power. The mythical beasts on this planet are very powerful, but when they saw the halo on her body, they stepped back. Of course she can still enter the space, but it feels good to have the protection of a little kid. The planet that Yuan opened his divine eyes to look at was really a spiritual place for cultivation. Its divine power was even more intense than that of Tongxian realm, or even half as much as that of Tongxian realm. But this place is not suitable for human habitation yet. The strength of the mythical beasts here is too terrifying. Yuan estimated that even if this place is suitable for human habitation in the future, it will only be after the laws on this planet are improved and the mythical beasts transform into human forms and live on their own. The monks from outside will not be able to establish themselves here. Yuan waited for a long time for the green lotus of creation to come back, but when he came back he was holding a green lotus that was very similar to him. Hurry up and get into the space, let's leave here, creation Qinglian said a little anxiously. Yuan nodded and immediately took him in, and then left here. In the space, creation Qinglian breathed a sigh of relief. Hurry up and get some more divine power in, let him recover first, his strength is exhausted. You are so good at summoning people, I have really become your mother, Yuan mumbled back to Mujukan's demon suppression tower, and moved the mutants there to the star formation to strangle them. Then it is thrown into the red earth, transformed into divine power and absorbed by the pure world green lotus. The originally wilted pure green lotus became verdant after absorbing divine power. I came to life in an instant. Yuan's eyes sparkled when she saw it. She stepped forward and smelled the scent of the purifying green lotus, feeling purified by it. Jingxi Qinglian, Yuan really didn't expect to find it so easily, it felt unreal. It seems that few of her treasures require any effort, and they were all obtained by accident. Yuan gently stroked the pure world green lotus and really wanted to contract it. She needed the pure world green lotus so much, but when she saw the good fortune green lotus looking at her as if she was guarding against a thief, she immediately stopped thinking. She rolled her eyes and immediately diverted Qinglian's attention. Xiaolian, you looked so panicked just now, did you encounter a ghost? It would be fine if I could meet a ghost. I wouldn't be afraid, but that is the world-destroying green lotus. I'm afraid that he will sense my aura and come after me to destroy the planet. The purifying green lotus will not be in vain. Oh, even if you are so awesome, there are people who are afraid of you. Oh, it's Qinglian who is afraid. She thinks you are omnipotent and fearless. Yuan covered her mouth and laughed dryly. Zai Zhao Qinglian's face turned dark and said, you are just giggling here, why don't you hurry up and get your divine power? After we both recover, you will have unexpected gains. Yuan believed him now, so she made Qinglian look like a sinister person. She would burn incense if he didn't take advantage of her. Zai Zhao Qinglian couldn't believe him when he saw her expression. The corner of his mouth curled up. Don't disbelieve it. End of this chapter. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 847. Chapter 847 Demonic Cultivator. Believe it or not, I'm lucky if you don't trick me. After Yuan finished speaking, she walked out of the Red Land and went to find the mutated creatures. As soon as Yuan left, Jingxi Qinglian's figure flashed into a pink and tender little girl. Why are you lying to others? The little girl asked with a pout. Shh, creation Qinglian quickly covered Jingxi Qinglian's mouth. Don't talk nonsense, how can I lie to her? Zaiwa Qinglian looked around, as if she was afraid that Yuan would overhear. There's nothing I don't know about the mess in your belly. You'd better not lie to him, or I'll skin you. The little girl had a calm face, and the calm expression on her face was in harmony with the pink face. The carved face is out of place. Yes, 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 let's listen to Xiao Jingjing creation. King Lian's eyes flashed, and he immediately transformed into his true form and stood beside Jingxi Qinglian. Little girls are the most troublesome. They can't be offended, but that stupid woman is easy to bully. Jingxi Qinglian kicked him, pouting and turning into his true form. Yuan didn't know what they were doing. She was looking for mutated creatures outside. Looking at the waste stars everywhere, Yuan wanted to speed up the recovery of Jingxi Qinglian, so as long as she saw anything that could increase the power of space, she would throw everything that could be used into the red earth. Of course, the most common ones are mutated creatures. This day, Yuan discovered a strange planet. The planet was shrouded in black mist, and there was a faint smell of blood coming out. Yuan was curious and immediately came to this planet. She became invisible as soon as she landed on the ground. This area was full of ruined stars, but this planet was the only one that looked weird. When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Yuan looked at this place. It turns out that this planet is only covered by a layer of black fog on the outside, but there is no black fog on the inside. It is a planet full of life. But there is a strong smell of blood. Yuan immediately looked for the smell of blood. Suddenly, a black figure quickly passed through her sight, and Yuan immediately took star steps to catch up. Yuan soon caught up and followed the black shadow. Yuan opened her spiritual eyes and saw a monk in black clothes, but he smelled of blood, as if he had been soaked in blood. Soon a blood-colored mist appeared in front of the monk in black. Yuan sensed that the smell of blood she smelled came from here, and the monk in black entered the blood-colored mist in a flash. Yuan Fei stopped in front of the blood-colored mist. Her expression was solemn. How could the smell of blood be the smell of human blood? Is this monk in black some kind of evil god, practicing evil skills here? Although Yuan was bold, she did not dare to go in directly. She immediately stepped into the space and looked through the boundary gate. To her surprise, the boundary gate could not see anything inside, as it was blocked by the mist. Yuan stepped out and wandered in front of the mist. Would she like to go in and take a look? After thinking for a while, Yuan stepped into the mist. Entering the mist, she was unable to use her divine sense and divine eyes to see, not even her divine ears. There was nothing in the mist, no obstacles, so Yuan had no choice but to move forward. It had already come, and now she could only take one step at a time. Look at what is behind this mist. Yuan walked for a long time but did not get out of the mist, nor did she see the monk in black again. There was no trace of him. Yuan's expression couldn't help but move slightly, and her expression was solemn. Yuan simply took up the star step and ran away. Half an hour later, Yuan flew out of the mist and found that the place she was in was a valley. You can use your spiritual sense to check here. Yuan carefully checked with his spiritual sense. This valley is thousands of feet long and horizontal. It is not small. There is a lot of vegetation in the valley, and there is a small stream flowing in the middle. Yuan's consciousness crossed the valley. Unexpectedly, on the other side of the valley, there was still a blood-colored mist. The blood-colored mist became thicker and thicker, and there was still some demonic energy mixed into it. Yuan frowned. Could it be that a demon cultivator is practicing demonic skills here? Yuan flew over and stopped in front of the mist. Naturally, she would not enter it rashly. Yuan stood for a long time before stepping into the mist. Suddenly a shadow hit her. Yuan's figure flashed, turned into a stream of light, and then disappeared there. Boom! The black shadow fell where she disappeared. When Yuan Dingqing took a look, it turned out to be the skeleton of a monk. Who is it? Suddenly, the black-clothed monk flashed there and roared in the air. Yuan held her breath and looked at the monk in black. His face was ashen, His face was like a skull, and the blood in his body seemed to have been sucked dry. The whole body is shrouded in a black robe. Judging from the appearance, this is a demon cultivator, not an evil cultivator. Yuan cannot use his spiritual sense, otherwise he will know it at a glance. His eyes widened and he glanced around, trying to find Yuan. Yuan was also confused. How could she have been discovered just now? After a moment, the demon cultivator suddenly raised his head and looked towards the mist on the left. Now that my friend is here, why should I hide in secret and be shy to see people? This is right, Yuan can hear it. Ification. A stream of light flashed by, and a white body floated down in front of the demon cultivator. Speaking as if she was afraid of this demonic cultivator, she showed up. Haha, she's still a goddess. The demon cultivator's eyes changed and he looked at Yuan with evil intentions. How did you find me? Yuan was curious. She was not afraid of what the demon cultivator had planned for her. Sooner or later, he would fall into her hands anyway. In this demon god's territory, it's a bit unnecessary for the goddess to ask this question. It's better for the goddess to stay and practice with this demon god. When he talked about cultivation, he deliberately emphasized his tone and his words were extremely frivolous. Xiu, your sister, if you don't tell me, I'll just wait and see. Yuan didn't bother to talk to him, so she directly pointed out Xiao Zi. Humph, if you don't eat the toast, you'll be punished with a drink. The demon cultivator snorted coldly, with a sneer on his face. Suddenly his expression changed, his body moved suddenly, and with a wave of his hand, a stream of red mist flew out from his sleeves, transformed into a giant red dragon, and opened its mouth to attack Xiao Zi. When Xiao Zi saw the giant dragon, she twisted her body and quickly transformed from a ball of flame into a fire phoenix, spitting flames from her mouth to face the giant dragon. Yuan suddenly turned invisible and ducked behind Mo Xiu, and swung out the star sword with one hand. Just let Xiao Zi go out, it was just her seduce. She wanted to try how this magic Xiu felt her, and the power of the Xin Chen sword method. Of course she can only outsmart him. The opponent is stronger than her. He must be able to save such a large planet. He is definitely superior. Humph. How dare you do anything in front of this demon god? The demon cultivator sensed Yuan's trajectory and struck Yuan's star sword with his backhand in a flash. Boom. The powerful palm force knocked Yuan away from the mist. Hu, Yuan exhaled. The strength of this demonic cultivator was beyond her ability. Fortunately, the palm was protected by the divine clothes and was not injured. End of this chapter. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 848. Chapter 848 Demon Fighting Cultivator. You weakling, you dare to challenge this demon with this little strength, but your divine clothes are very good. The demon cultivator appeared in front of Yuan as he spoke, and a big hand fell from the sky to grab her. Yuan's consciousness suddenly disappeared and the demon cultivator caught the opportunity. Yuan had already appeared behind the demon again. With a wave of her right hand, she saw a ray of silver light flying out and slashing towards the opponent's head. Needless to say, this silver light is naturally the star sword. The palm of the demon cultivator just slapped her away and did not hurt the star sword. Heh, I'm still playing with this demon. Well, I haven't met such an interesting goddess for a long time. After the demon caught the girl in the air, his consciousness saw Yuan appearing behind him and sneaking up on him. He smiled instead of being angry. This little weakling was not very well educated and had endless tricks. He still had the guts to fight him a few times. It was very interesting. At that moment, he waved his hand, and a black tower appeared in his hand. The tower was spinning in his hand, and black energy overflowed for an instant. Then, with a flash of black light, a huge tower more than 10 feet high appeared. The puppet appeared before his eyes. Human puppet, Yuan took a breath when she saw the puppet. This humanoid puppet was made from the body of a monk, but it was still an ancient god. Yes, the goddess has some knowledge, so let me let this devil's baby play with you. As the demon cultivator spoke, he pointed at the humanoid puppet, which raised its long sword to face the star sword. Humph! Yuan snorted heavily, thinking that she was afraid of him. She didn't pause at all, and with a thought, the star sword struck the humanoid puppet hard again. The humanoid puppet only obeyed the orders of its master. The humanoid puppet did not flinch at all and still raised its sword towards each other. Boom! The two swords struck each other, and the sword in the hand of the humanoid puppet was cut off. The piece flew out and disappeared into the mist. Poof! The demon cultivator suddenly opened his mouth and spit out a mouthful of black blood. His eyes flashed, his body twisted, and he flashed in front of the humanoid puppet, and immediately put the humanoid puppet into the black tower. Then he opened his mouth suddenly and shot a mouthful of black blood at Yuan. It turns out that Yuan's sword cut the humanoid puppet. The humanoid puppet had a contract with the demon cultivator. As soon as the humanoid puppet was injured, he suffered the backlash. The demon god was not angry but happy. He had been too trusting just now. He didn't expect that this little weakling really had two brushes. He stared at the star sword in Yuan's hand. It was a peerless artifact. He took a fancy to it. He wants it? Just think of it as the price for hurting his baby. Yuan gained the hand once and immediately retracted the star sword. Xin Chen took one step to avoid the black blood attack. The other party looked down on her just now, but she didn't dare to take it seriously this time, so she just dodged him. The demon cultivator frowned when he saw that she easily dodged his attack. This little weakling's movements were so fast. In this case, he will definitely not let her go. At this moment, the demon cultivator waved his hands and fired out several rays of magic power, blasting towards Yuan like a laser cannon. If a tiger doesn't show off its power, it's really considered a sick cat. Boom boom boom. Magic power shot out, and bursts of roaring sounds came. This attack was no small matter, and it rushed towards Yuan like an overwhelming force. Yuan dodged into the mist. Unexpectedly, the magic power seemed to be alive, turning a corner and chasing after him. For a moment, all the mist around him was shaken away, and Yuan's surroundings became clear. Yuan's eyes moved slightly. She used her star steps to the extreme. She shuttled through the mist, and the magic power was still chasing her. The mist was broken into pieces by the magic power wherever she passed. They could no longer be together, and they could not hinder Yuan. Use your spiritual consciousness. The demon who controls the magic power outside is such a cunning goddess. If she runs down like this, the barrier he has set up will be destroyed. His consciousness flashed and he stepped into the mist. With a wave of his hands, a large amount of black divine power surged out and enveloped Yuan. Yuan smiled at him, the game was over, and she stepped into the space. How can this be? Seeing Yuan disappear out of thin air, the demon was stunned for a moment. This goddess still had room for life. He regretted it endlessly. He should have captured this goddess long ago. She had so many treasures on her, and she could become invisible after hiding like this. It would be difficult to find her in the sky again. The demon cultivator seemed to have thought of something, and stepped out of the mist, arriving at the place where he and Yuan first fought. There, he remembered that Yuan had thrown out divine fire to fight with his blood dragon. When he arrived, there was no divine fire there, it had already disappeared, and even his blood dragon was nowhere to be found. But the blood dragon disappears when it doesn't see it. It's a pity, it's just a magic trick. What he didn't know was that Xiao Zi had already been taken in by Yuan. When she sacrificed Xiao Zi struggled with the blood dragon for a while, but lost the support of the magic cultivator and was already defeated. It was swallowed by Xiao Zi in one gulp. After swallowing the blood dragon, Xiao Zi returned to Yuan's dungeon without anyone noticing. The blood dragon is a great supplement to Xiao Zi, but it is still too little. At this time in the space, Yuan looked at Mo Xiu's regretful look and found it funny. She emptied out part of the star formation, and immediately drew the demon cultivator into the star formation through the door, opening the killing formation. Then she ducked out of the space and came into the mist, heading straight towards the smell of blood. Source: Yuan only spent half a stick of incense to find the source of the smell. It was a huge blood pool, full of the blood of a god, exuding strong divine power. Sure enough, this bad guy was practicing magic here. Yuan collected all the divine blood in the pool into the red earth without saying a word. The red earth liked the blood of the very much and absorbed the full pool of the god's blood in one time. All. The divine power in the red earth is simply unbelievably rich, making the green lotus of creation and the green lotus of pure world inexplicably excited. The two of them tried their best to absorb the divine power. After Yuan collected the divine blood in the pool, she saw that the pool was full of human bones, piled up like a mountain. The most bones inside are the bones of ancient gods and men, and there are very few bones of monks. Yuan is very puzzled. The bones of these ancient gods and men were not dead for a long time. Where did the demon come from? Is there a planet of ancient gods not far from here? Yuan only pondered for a while, then put the bones into the red earth and let the red earth swallow them up. I believe that after the red earth swallows up the contents of this pool, the green lotus of creation and the green lotus of pure world will be able to recover a lot. After the pool was empty, Yuan searched around here. Except for the red blood mist, there was nothing of value. She just dodged into the space and came to the star formation. She wanted to ask the demon cultivator if there were ancient gods and demon cultivators here. He was definitely not the only demon cultivator. These demonic cultivators are as big a threat as mutated life forms. She wanted to take a look. At this time, the demon was dueling with the star formation. When he saw Yuan coming in, he yelled, "Let me go out quickly, or you will regret it." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 849. Chapter 849 Promoted to God King. Oh. I am Daezu and you are fish and meat. What else can you do to make me regret it? Yuan chuckled. This demon cultivator probably didn't know her situation and dared to threaten her. Humph. You think you can escape just by killing me, even to the ends of the earth? Even if you have space and can become invisible, where can you escape? Not in this interstellar world, or being chased by people from my demon world. Kill until the end. The demon cultivator was anxious. If he didn't go out, he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. This killing formation was so dangerous. It was his father who came to see if he could break it. When Yuan heard this, she thought that there was indeed another demon world. She said, "I would be afraid of just one of your demon worlds. If I deal with you, I will go and deal with your devil world in a moment. Moreover, you are quite courageous and have kidnapped so many ancient gods. You still kill them all. Do you think the ancient gods will spare you from the demon realm? You still don't want to let me go. Let's see who can play first." Did you see it? The demon cultivator was very surprised. There was a barrier in the pool. That's nonsense. Do you think your barrier can stop me? I came here looking for the strong smell of blood, so how can I not break your barrier? Humph. So what if you see it? We in the demon world have long disliked those people. They all look down on people with their nostrils turned upward. Why don't you die under my sword and provide me with nourishment for my cultivation? The demon cultivator was already speechless. Chosen words. That's not why you committed suicide, Yuan mocked. They deserve to die. If they, the ancient gods, hadn't committed suicide and destroyed the energy planet, would our planet have turned into a demon world? You don't think we are demon cultivators in the first place, right? We are still soft-hearted towards the culprits. Didn't you touch it? Have you ever seen those mutated creatures harming the planet? They are afraid of our demonic energy, otherwise we would have become their delicacies. The demon cultivator said angrily, they just went back for revenge, what was wrong with him? Then you shouldn't kill innocent people indiscriminately. It's not the ancient gods who do it now. Are they willing to do this? Stop saying those high-sounding words, I don't like to hear it. Let me out quickly. My father is the demon in the devil world. If you dare to kill me, I will be killed by anyone in heaven or on earth, and even your planet. Oh, even if you are so cruel, I won't let you go. Yuan was too lazy to listen to him. She was not scared, and she was not a holy mother. Even if he had a wrong idea for her just now, she would not let him stay. Moreover, what should be known is already known. She withdrew from the star formation, fully activated the star formation, and strangled the demon cultivator. After strangulation, she threw it directly into the red earth and became nourishment in the red earth. Yuan did not immediately go to find the planet where the demon gods and ancient gods lived, but returned to the demon suppression tower. Just in time, she replenished another wave of mutated creatures before going to find Mujukan. In the past, she could not come and go directly from the boundary gate in the demon suppression tower. Mujukan found a way to open the permissions from the memory of Suzaku ancestor, which made it much more convenient for her. Mujukan has been sent to guard the southern god territory at this moment. When Yuan found him, he was on duty. Yuan could only wait for him in the suppression tower, while killing all the mutated creatures in the demon suppression tower and throwing them into the red earth. She also entered the red land and sat among the green lotus of creation and the green lotus of pure world to meditate and practice. She had a feeling that she was just a little short of a chance to break through to the God King. The one who can break through is the best. The higher the strength, the stronger the self-protection ability. In today's crisis-ridden period, it is of course the best to be able to advance to a higher level of cultivation. Yuan sat between the two of them. She quickly cleared her mind and devoted herself to deep cultivation. Seeing the rich divine power pouring into her body continuously, both the creation Qinglian and the pure world Qinglian were dumbfounded. This woman was no worse at absorbing divine power than they were. You stop and let her practice. When the creation Qinglian was about to absorb the divine power, the purifying Qinglian shouted at him. How can she absorb so much divine power? Creation Qinglian said reluctantly. It would be a pity for this woman to absorb so much divine power. You know what the heck, you can absorb it endlessly, and she can absorb it. Now we are using her, but her strength is too low. We want to recover quickly. Only by improving her strength can she be better. Help us find what we need. And you are here to help him, Jingxi Qinglian said sternly, not allowing the creation of Qinglian to refute. Of course Yuan couldn't hear the conversation between them. Creation Qinglian didn't dare to disobey Jingxi Qinglian. He had no choice but to glare at Yuan fiercely before sitting quietly next to Yuan and gently releasing something. The kind of power he was releasing made it easy for Yuan to reach the bottleneck of breakthrough. Jingxi Qinglian saw that creation Qinglian was honest, so he sat next to her to protect Yuan. If you want the horse to run, you have to give it grass to eat, so Qinglian has a black-hearted temper. If she doesn't suppress him, Yuan is afraid that she will have to serve him all her life. Yuan has good luck and can help them. She doesn't mind helping her when the time is right. She didn't know how long she had been in the space, but Yuan suddenly heard a click in her sea of consciousness. The barrier was finally broken. She opened her eyes with a cry, exited the demon suppression tower from the boundary gate, and found an uninhabited place. On the other side, a star formation was set up, and then the tribulation began. Cultivating next to the creation Qinglian really made her touch the threshold and break through so quickly. The green lotus of creation and the green lotus of pure world were watching over the tribulation. Heaven did not dare to be cruel to Yuan and treated her particularly favorably. Yuan overcame the tribulation easily. After overcoming the tribulation, immediately returned to the space to consolidate. 10 years later in space and time, Yuan consolidated her cultivation. She tried her strength and found that she was twice as powerful as before. Yuan came to Mujukan happily. This time Mujukan happened to get off the shift and saw at a glance that her cultivation level had been promoted. Congratulations to Waner. Hey, congratulations, you are far behind me. Yuan said this, but she was quite happy in her heart. After all, there are very few kings as young as her, and only the cultivation geniuses in their family are the ones. There is such talent. Mujukan rubbed her head. I am not a serious practitioner. My cultivation talent is only a little better than yours. Of course, I still rely on Waner's space. Without cultivation resources, no matter how talented you are in cultivation, you cannot advance like this. Cultivation resources are very important. Cultivation resources are abundant, and even a pig can advance quickly. Yuan nodded softly. She liked hearing this. What Mujukan said was the truth. Without her space, their family would still be in the fairy world. It is uncertain how many people would be able to ascend to the fairy world now. It is estimated that except for a few with good cultivation qualifications, the rest of them have exhausted their longevity. End of this chapter. The Brave Life of a Space Peasant Girl. Author, Lan Department. Chapter 850. Chapter 850 Green Lotus and Snow Lotus. After that, Yuan told Mujukan about finding Jingxi Qinglian. Mujukan just sighed at Yuan's luck and said, it's easy to find but not easy to raise. Yuan is not stupid, and naturally knows what Mujukan means. She is just annoyed by this matter. The good fortune Green Lotus and Pure World Green Lotus absorb so much divine power, which only makes the lotus seeds grow a little, and they cannot be seen with the naked eye. That much divine power is enough for her to become the God Emperor. She said, I understand that this star was created by them. Of course they know where the divine power is to support them, but they didn't let me look for it. This means that there is no power suitable for them to absorb in this star. I can only help find other resources myself. Yuan paused and then said, keep it up slowly. Mujukan nodded and talked to Yuan for a while. It was time for him to take up his post. Once Mujukan left, Yuan had no sense in staying around. She guessed that the mutated creatures would not come so quickly. If he released all the people in the space and stayed in the space, they would not be able to advance. Anyway, Mujukan's demon suppression tower is here. When the mutated creatures come, just take them into the demon suppression tower. This time even the Star Emperor came out with him. He wanted to see the combat power of the mutated creatures. The most important thing was to see his own current combat power. Haven't fought for many years, and the bones of this body are almost rusty. Yuan went to Earth and told Suiyan about the attack by mutated creatures in Tongxian realm. When Suiyan and her daughter knew that Miaoyu and his wife were fine, Suiyan said that they would not come back to cause trouble. Yuan saw how happy they were to stay on Earth. Life here is interesting and popular. In the world of cultivation, apart from cultivation, it is just experience, and life is not interesting at all. Moreover, mother and daughter relied on their own strength to establish their own business empire here. Now they no longer live in the old woman's house, but have bought all along the coast and built villas. He also took in disciples with spiritual roots here and taught them how to practice. When they were almost done with their practice, he helped them take care of their business. The mother and daughter just enjoyed their lives. Yuan thought to herself, they won't turn the earth into a cultivation planet, right? However, in ancient times, the earth was also a planet of cultivation. After the spiritual power was exhausted, the cultivators became extinct. This does not mean that there are people without spiritual roots. Yuan didn't say anything after knowing it. They don't tamper with things on the earth without authorization. The laws of heaven here allow them to do whatever they want. She also believes that Suyen and her daughter are sensible, and the earth doesn't care about them yet. They are just having fun. It is easy for them to be the boss and control the planet. If you want to truly be the boss in the training world, you still have to return to the training planet. Earth is an ordinary planet, and being the boss doesn't give you much sense of accomplishment. Yuan stayed on Earth for a while, visited Suyen's businesses, and returned to the Tongxian realm. She still has 2 foodies to support. However, as soon as she returned to Tongxian realm, Liang Bao came to find her, followed by a pair of twin girls. Yuan looked at the identical twin girls and felt happy. Is this the way to have a daughter-in-law? Hello Antoine, you are so beautiful. When the twin girls saw Yuan, their eyebrows curled up in smiles and they hurriedly greeted her. Oh, this mouth is as sweet as honey, and you are also very beautiful. Yuan smiled so hard that she couldn't even see her eyes. She had never been praised so directly. She looked at her 2 sons, held the twin girls with both hands, put up a barrier, and immediately put out delicious food and drinks. Yuan smiled like an ant again. What are your names? One of the twins said, Antoine, my name is Qinglian, and my sister's name is Suelian. Yuan laughed a few times in her heart. They looked like 2 lotus flowers. She also complained in her heart. Fortunately it's not Balian. Looking at the 2 sons again, I saw that the 2 sons looked indifferent and did not want to see the 2 lotus flowers. Liang Bao is rarely so rude to others, and she is still such a beautiful woman. There must be some reason. Yuan's thoughts changed. Ahem, cough, that Qinglian, did they bully you when you followed my son? She actually liked these 2 lotuses, which were as pure as water-grown hibiscuses, but they were obviously not their son's cup of tea. She hopes to have a daughter-in-law as soon as possible and then have a grandson, but she cannot harm her son or mess with the relationship. Qinglian glanced at Dabao shyly, shook her head and said, Antoine, they don't have it, we just. Qinglian spoke softer and softer, and finally she couldn't speak anymore. Seeing this, Yuan understood in her heart that these 2 big lotus flowers were attracted by her own son, but her own son was not attracted by them. Then wouldn't your parents be worried if you ran away like this? Everyone in the Tongxian world is in danger now, worried that one day the mutated creature will come again. Which parent is so relieved to let their beautiful girl run around? Looking at their cultivation level, they are also very talented. With such a low cultivation level, they are just out to deliver food to others. Suelian quickly waved her hand and said, Antoine, our parents sent people to protect us. Oh. I see. She didn't even feel the hidden aura. The person who wanted to protect them was of high cultivation. She didn't open her divine eyes and didn't see it. It is no wonder that the 2 sons did not get rid of these 2 lotuses. With expert protection, I'm afraid the identity of these twins is not simple. Antoine, can we talk to you about scolding? Qinglian said suddenly, and then glanced at Liang Bao. Talk, what to talk about? Yuan looked at Qinglian in confusion, pointed at herself and asked, shouldn't we talk to Liang Bao and the others? What should we talk to her about? But she still nodded and looked to see what the twins were talking to her about. With a sudden movement of consciousness, she took the 2 treasures into the space. Girl Qinglian, they are not here, what can't you say in front of them? Qinglian nodded and said generously, Antoine, our sisters like Dabao and Dabao very much. We hope that Antoine can give us a chance. Of course we will not force Dabao and the others. Yuan smiled when she heard this, Antoine will definitely not stand in the way of the relationship between you young people, but you must be willing to like each other, and you must not become a resentful couple. The twins nodded repeatedly. Yeah, then we sisters can rest assured. Thank you, Antoine. How do you say this? Yuan didn't understand what the twins meant, as if she didn't agree. Swillian said, Antoine, Xiaobao said that you must agree before they can consider it. End of this chapter.